my first experience of encountering the charity was as a result of the leader of the council, who had a very simple image. He said, and his image was a youngster zipping up a tracksuit with the crest football club and growing with pride. And how would we as a city harness sport to turn people's lives around? Because there's one thing we learned, that sports can transform people's lives. That was our first encounter. So it was an expectation that I was going to see a football club engaging in the community. What we saw was very different. So the naming of the charity today and rebranding it, I think is very apt and timely, because it reflects the far broader program of work that is carried out by the charity and what we saw when we first encountered you. In many respects, what's happened with the charity has happened to the City Council. We've gone through a change. And a number of years ago, the business community and our politicians, under the umbrella of Exeter Vision Partnership, established with the institutions of the city a vision and a mission statement. And it was all about enhancing Exeter as a regional capital and working with our partners to improve the quality of life for those who live here, who work here, and who visit here. And the emphasis was on partnership. When we encountered Julia, we encountered Jamie, and Danny, and Scott, what we saw was people who personified partnership work. That's what we learned. And we were blown away by the way they conducted their business. So what we've learned as an organization, if our purpose is to make Exeter a stronger city, not to make a stronger city council, that's not in my key performance indicators. It's not about making Exeter City Council a stronger city council. It's all about making a stronger city. And so what we've learned is, if we're to be successful, we have to blur our organizational boundaries, that we have to take ownership of common outcomes. And you've already started to describe today what's the outcome that you're after. You're after improving our health and well-being, that we live well. It's not about football and becoming stars in football. Just as like it's not about running the city council so I can balance the budget. It's about transforming life chances. So for me, working with the partnership is about what we believe the objective of council working today is all about. And if one thing has come about from austerity, is absolutely changed our mindset. To achieve outcomes, we have to work differently, we have to work in partnership. What Pete was telling me when he was saying about zipping up the tracksuit was, you know, we were going to come through the recession and we were going to be successful. We had no doubt about that. We knew we would make Exeter one of the strongest economies in the country, as we are. Devon Live, their website, Jim Park is in the room, thank you very much. This week, number 4th in the UK for job creation. I think that deserves to be shouted about, because the people above us, Manchester, Milton Keynes, all of these are part of powerhouses. This is little Exeter on its own, just like the Chiefs. We're doing what we do. And what we've achieved is remarkable. So we have to work, and what we recognize is that we may grow, but if we're not careful, stubborn inequalities that exist in the cities will remain. And that's what we desired when we came along to what would have been the old primary school, to encounter yourselves, was how then do we get to those wards in the city that have always missed out on the growth that we achieve? How do we do it? And your expertise has demonstrated how you achieve it. And then I think your staff numbers have grown, because I think it's about 30 full-time, 100 over 100 part-time. And because when you get to see what they do, you can't help but be excited and passionate and want to work with them, because what they're doing is they're transforming our city and the expectations and life chances of our youngsters. But there's another aspect to this work. I don't know what the figure is now, but certainly last year I was told the NHS in our part of the world was facing a £422 million deficit over, I think it was the 3 or 4 years. And we have a massive problem because our health outcomes are affected by inactivity, obesity, and all the other things that we all know too well now. And I was at an event, James Crackwell, one of the rowers, Olympic rowers, and he gave a stat out which I just was staggered, couldn't believe it. I got no reason to doubt him. And what he said was that 80% of the adults in the UK do not participate in 1 20-minute of exercise or activity in the entire year. They're not even walking for 20 minutes in a year. And that's what we're facing as a city and a society, because if the NHS is in a financial hole, we also feel it. Because one thing that happens in this city, I've seen it, is cost shunting. We end up having to deal with a problem. So how about embracing a program that turns lives around, increases activity, and effectively solves some of the financial problems that we're going to be facing as a society. And that's what you're doing. I got a list of things. I wrote a speech. I don't normally write speeches. I wrote a speech. But you've done it in that video. We captured all the activity. And that's what they do. They deliver that. They engage youngsters. They support teachers. And as a consequence, they improve activity. And because of the way they work, and Active Devon is another organisation that works, we've gone from the lowest now to the best performing city in the UK for sport in terms of activity. We are now, if I'm right, Jamie will tell me, most active city in the South West.
Yep.
And just as with our members, what they said, but now we need to be the most active city in the UK. That's what I love about this city. We will be the city that shows you how urban transformation transforms economies and societies. We haven't got lots of money, but we've got fantastic innovation, and we are very good at making things happen, because in a room like this, we can make things happen, because every one of you is a can-do person. And because of that, we will make and we will achieve. So, NHS needs us, and they should be putting money in our way, because just as others are doing, like the CoLab, what they're doing is turning lives around and saving money. Let's get some money into the things that make practical activities that make an effect. They do lots of things. Just one thing, we've got the Exeter Sports Foundation. Is another one that the leader of the council was doing. How we put money, small sums of money, but it allows an individual to get a bit of kit. And I know what it was like when you're a youngster, you want a bit of kit and you can't afford, you do that, and that's what the foundation does. And then I want to just finally just say something about the work you're doing now in Cranbrook, which points to the future, because one of the things that the charity is doing is engaging beyond Exeter now to the greater Exeter area. And in a community that has a very different demographic to the city, they're providing some great work supporting learning with those with learning difficulties and others, social inclusion. But we've got a sub-region of 400,000 people. This is the motor that drives the economy of wider Devon. The whole of Devon needs Exeter to succeed. Actually, Cornwall needs to hitch on to us as well. But what you're doing is pointing to the work we've got to do beyond Exeter to support the greater Exeter achieve this kind of fantastic work. So I'm going to stop there, but timely and absolutely 100% behind what you're doing.